Let's take one more call here before we close out the night and go to our very special announcement that we have at the end of the show. Let's talk to Isaiah. Isaiah is calling from South Korea. He wants to know, how do the hosts feel about atheist churches? Hi, Isaiah.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I do want to say that I went to Bible college, and that experience actually made me wind up becoming an atheist myself. And so whenever...
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Nope, that's not uncommon.
Do we lose it?
You still there, Isaiah?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh man, I really want to talk about atheist churches because I have an answer.
I'm starting.
I'll pop him, Poppy back down here. Oh, let's see if I can get it back up here. Isaiah, can you hear me, Isaiah?
Yeah.
We
Can you hear
lost
me?
you for a second.
Hello?
Yes, we got you. Yay!
We got you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'll try to make sure my phone doesn't go off. Anyway, so I moved overseas to South Korea, and there wasn't much of a community. And I started to look online, about atheist churches. And I had a degree, in Bible and speaking and stuff. So that was something I had wanted to start myself. I wound up later on becoming a Christian myself, but I was just curious if that was something you guys would be interested in attending, because I think the community is probably something that a lot of atheists miss.
Sometimes, yeah. My initial answer is yeah, I'd go, because I don't think there's anything that initially
it would be a
would
nickname.
Say, I would, yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily be a church, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My first thought is yeah, of course, if it's a thing, I would go back to church, a regular church right now too. I'm not opposed to going to an event. Obviously,
right,
it's
right.
not a big deal. Would I become a member, a full-fledged every week goer? It would just totally depend on what it was, the environment and what it offered as far as community and things like that. I don't really see the point of calling something atheist church unless it's set up very similarly, or maybe even if used in the same facilities,
Pastafarianism maybe.
Yeah, but I'm not I don't hate it. It's just, it is what it is. I think that it's really easy to just get together as atheists anywhere. So
yeah,
that's kind of my feelings about it. How about you, Neil?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start my own atheist church, and if you become a member. You become a member, it's 20% of your annual income. So.
Oh, see, that's part of that. That's part of those details that I would need to know. I'm not forking over anything.
We're not in.
Unless you get cool merch.
Well, of course there'd be cool merch.
Yeah.
You get burnt copies of my CD. How's that?
So Isaiah, did you say that you were an atheist, but then you converted to Christianity?
Hey, you don't hear that much.
Yeah, I would call it a face-first collision with Christ about 8 years ago.
Ooh.
Actually, in about a week, it'll be 8 years. So,
wow.
After probably a decade of non-belief.
Care to tell us what happened?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I was extremely... you might call it a militant atheist. I call it evangelical atheism, but it's to where atheism isn't enough for you. It's you need to spread it or belittle people who believe in faith. And so I don't know. I was really into a lot of different stuff and really immoral living overseas. But I just had an experience where Jesus Christ spoke to me in my room. 5:16. So as I said,
hold it.
In 1 week it will be yeah.
Hold on, Isaiah. Did you audibly
Yeah, we were both
fighting
to say that.
You sure somebody didn't set up a
I was in my room and I know. Trust me, I literally jumped across my. And I was looking around my room, and I was certain someone broke into my room. Because the last thing in the world I thought was God was speaking to me. And so I looked into my closet because that was the only place I thought, the voice might be coming from. And there was nothing in there. And then he told me some other stuff. And I ran into my cousin's room, which was like right next to me, and I told him that God spoke to me, and he thought I went absolutely crazy. And I told my family. They made me get into counseling, and but that was 8 years ago. Though my life has never been the same since then. But yeah, it's a pretty crazy experience. Most people think I'm crazy to tell them that, but I mean, I know what I experienced. No, I know what my life was before and after that. So.
Okay, so no, first of all, we don't think you're crazy. I'm just curious. I'm just curious about your experience. I'm curious about. I mean, we could go into a lot of questions. My first question would be like, what time of night was it? And were you were you clearly thinking? Were you on anything? Were you asleep? How do you know that it wasn't, somebody's phone from the other room, or like, there's all these kind of like things that I would be curious about. I don't know if we have time to get into all of this today. I'm curious too about maybe like what it was, maybe like the content of what was said to you as well. And how do you think that affected your life and that changed your life so much?
I think actually both of you guys' messages on Twitter about coming on to my podcast. I normally don't get into all the full details of that because it's like, why really tell people whenever I already know that they're not going to believe whatever it is? Because whenever I was an atheist, if you told me something like that, even 10% of what I experienced, I would have shut you down and not listened to what you had to say. So to me, it's a little bit disingenuous for me to try to explain it to somebody and expect them to believe me, because I know the incredulity that I used to have and I wouldn't have believed me. So it does make me feel uncomfortable. But he did tell me some like personal things about myself. And then it spoke to me for about 30 seconds. I should say he. But I mean, I guess we could have that.
I do understand. I understand. It's like these things that people would call religious experience oftentimes are described as something incredibly personal. So besides thinking that we're just going to outright flat out deny whatever you're saying, I think that it's okay to just say it's kind of personal. But I don't know. Unless we can really kind of investigate what happened there, I guess I will continue to stay at a place of not convinced about your experience.
Skepticism.
I believe that you probably did have an experience. But unless we can kind of go into like examining what happened, what was said, and how you maybe went about verifying whether that experience was something that happened in reality.
That it wasn't internal
not much
versus
more
external.
Like I do obviously have a lot of questions about it. But if we don't want to talk about it, then I can't really ask you too many questions about it.
Real quick though, Isaiah, we have a friend in common, and his name is Randolph Richardson, and he said to say hello. So I think we lost him.
Well, I think he's calling from South Korea. That's probably a disconnect. Anyway, Isaiah, thanks for coming in. If you're
Randolph.
You're breaking up on us.
You're breaking up on us.
Is an absolutely.
I'm going to assume that was a nice.
Is an amazing
Yes, he is. You're breaking up. You're fading in and out. It always fades when he gets to the good part.
Yeah. Okay, Isaiah. I'm gonna drop you down here because I think you're cutting out in and out quite a bit. Although we could have filled in the gaps there for you and just kind of finish that sentence along for you. I believe he was saying that Randolph is a great atheist. If I'm hearing him correctly.
I think so. He's in the chat actually watching the show right now. So there you go, Randolph. He said to say hi and thinks you're great.
And obviously he's not a militant or evangelical atheist or whatever those terms.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And also, I think they just mean like jerks, human beings that are jerks. I don't know, but I think
that's fun with it in the chat now too. Randolph is a ... He's a ... That's funny.
No, that's awesome.